Welcome to the 3D Blockout video. In this video, I'm going to run through how I personally do a 3D blockout for a project. In this case, we're going to work with a 3D model, the blueprints, I should say, of the Porsche 907 long tail. Now I got this from a blueprint website, which I shared in the reference collection video, so please check that out if you haven't. So I downloaded this image, and I also got the dimensions of the vehicle. So whether you're working with a car or a gun or any other object, it's very important that you know the exact specifications of the object. In this instance, we're working with the Porsche 907 long tail, so I know that the length is 4,650 millimeters, 4.65 meters. That means from this edge to this is 4.65 meters. And that's very useful because the blueprints themselves on this image does not have the measurements. Some of them will, some of them won't. And if they don't, you're gonna need to Google it. And usually you can find it quite easily if it's a production vehicle. The measurements that are useful for this case is the length, the width when we're looking from the top view, and the height from the side view. Wheelbase is from here to here, but in this instance, since we already have the length, we'll use that. So in Maya, and you can do this in any 3D platform, but I'm going to use Maya for this entire mentorship. So whatever software you're using, you can follow along, and you just have to look up the tools or the relevant tools that I'm using and what that tool is in your 3D software. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a free image plane. Okay, it's going to appear in the middle of the grid, and I will load in my reference image. Got the blueprint, and what I want to do is immediately make it the right scale. So let's say this is the front view, so I want to measure this length and put this on the side. Like this. So left view. What I'll do for the measurement is I'll create a cube, and the cube starts at 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So I know my scale is 465, yeah? Or I should do it in the z-axis. The length is 465 centimeters. And I need to match the length of the car to that. So this is pretty simple. You just take this and want to make sure that it's on the ground plane, meaning want to make sure the bottom of the blueprint is aligned to 0, 0, 0 on the grid. So once that's aligned and we shifted our pivot, we're gonna scale and try to match this line to here and this line to here. So I'm gonna shift it a bit forward like so. Okay, gonna hide this cube, and I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. Okay, so a question I get sometimes is which part of the line should I use, because the line has a certain thickness, so which part of the line should I reference? If you ask me, I like to use the middle of the line, but feel free to use the inner part of the line. As long as you're consistent with it, I don't see a problem with whichever you choose. But I like to use the middle of these guidelines. And this will be especially useful for when we're creating these curves. So that's our side view done. And the good thing is, since the scale is now correct, we can now replicate this, duplicate it, and let's say, the top view. Should put it here. Yeah, and we're gonna repeat the same process. We're gonna take that cube. We can even use the same cube, and we're gonna make it the relevant width. So we have the right thickness for the car. And let's look at our dimensions. Width is 172 centimeters. So just do 172. Okay, shift it over. You know, sometimes you'll notice that the blueprints aren't aligned properly. This one you have to do a bit of manual alignment, and you can see that it's not exactly matching. And in that case, you can just scale it a little bit. Like so, until it's matching perfectly, or closer. This is why the measurements for the car are very important, because look, the top view, the rear is longer than the side view, but we know that our measurements are correct. Right, we have the right scaling here. So we can trust it and scale the other view in a little bit. We won't do this too much, but just a little bit. Okay, so we have the top view in. Anyway, let's do the front view. Duplicate from the side view and we'll rotate. Put it in the back like this. And what we'll do is shift it like this. You can see as well, the blueprint is not perfect, and this is just something you'll have to get used to. But we know that the width is correct, and now we want to make sure that we got the right height. So what we'll do is create another cube in the front view, and we know the height is 94 centimeters. So we'll just put 94 here. Okay, now we see you have a problem, right? Why is the top of this front view bigger than the height? Now, provided these measurements are accurate, it means that this is not as accurate. So we could scale it as well, just a little bit to match. Because these blueprints are not always going to be from the manufacturer. In fact, most of the time they're not. They're created by other artists, so there is some error, room for error there. So we just have to be careful with that. Okay, so that's our images, and we can also do the back view. Right, so let's group this, and we'll hide this. Go to the back view. And now we just shift it over. And look, the front view and the back view are not matching. So what do? You just scale the image in a little bit until it's matching the height. So let's say we're happy with that. And you should spend some time on this to get it as close as possible. We're gonna wanna put these in a layer and lock that layer. So create a new layer and assign selected objects. And one thing is you might wanna lower the opacity of these images. Yeah, let's say to 0.6.5, just so you can see through them when you're doing the modeling. Okay, once we're happy with that, we go to our layers and we'll lock it so we cannot select it. And then group this, just call it guide. And we are good to start with the blockout. So first things first, we got our side view, we got our front view. This is where you have to be a bit careful. Stay aligned. And we have our back view. So go to back view, hide this. Or you could just change this. Cool. Yeah, you can set the image plane to only show when looking at specific camera angles. So got the back image plane, just change this to only show through the back view, and that'll be helpful for modeling in these orthographic views. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna start putting down some polygons, okay? But we're not gonna model this body with geometry directly. We're not gonna do this. Like start modeling like this and just try to get some similar shape in. No, we're not gonna do that. And the reason is we're gonna do curve modeling. Like this is what we're not gonna do. Okay? We're gonna use curves. I'm gonna use our curve tool, okay? And before we do that, we can create some geometry for the tires here. And we just set the subdivision axis to 32, I mean. Do it for the front. Go to the front view. And just model out the width of the tire. Copy it to that. Putting it to the front. the reason we're doing the tires or the wheels with polygons is because it's a very signature part of the vehicle, and we're gonna draw curves around it. So once we have the wheels in, we can start drawing curves. And what I want you to do is go into the side views first of all and draw the main outline of the car. Now with this curve tool, it will automatically create a curve. So this one will depend on the 3D software you're using. If it's Blender, it's a bit more complicated, but in Maya, you just have to click the points. And I don't want you to, over create too many points because it'll be hard to control. There is a art and a skill to it. It's just something you're gonna have to figure out. But I want you to draw curves to represent the kind of outline of the car. Yeah, so we have for the fender, we can do one for the front of the car like this. And you're gonna have to need more points for curved surfaces. And we're gonna do the wheel arch. So this is only drawing it in the side view, right? Because we're on the left. We're looking at the left camera, I should say. So what you're gonna need to do when you're done drawing on one view is you're gonna have to figure out how it looks in 3D. And the reason I'm using curves instead of polygons directly is because curves are easier to adjust rather than you're creating a bunch of polys and then you're gonna have to go to adjust it if something's not right. Okay, so I want you to draw curves like this. We'll do a few more and then I'll show you what the final result is after some tweaking and how this will allow us to more easily model the car. So we're going to do this one through the middle. We'll just end it off with the glass. And yeah, there's a few more you can draw here, but let's go into the top view. And we see that there are some curves here to draw too. Let's say this one. Okay, and if you added the points and you want to delete points, you can easily do that. Just press delete. Or if you want to add more points, let's say I need more points here, just go right click, curve point, click on the line, shift right click, insert knot, and these points are here for you to adjust. So you don't have to worry about not adding enough points or you added too many points. This is why I like this tool so much for modeling curved surfaces, complex shapes, that kind of stuff. And once you've gone into the top view, you've drawn all these lines, this outline here, this rear line, the glass, even the door, you're gonna find that you need to adjust it in the perspective view. So what I mean is, here we've drawn the wheel arch, right? And that fits, you know, right here where the wheels are. And here we've drawn the, this is from the top view, this curve, and this fits, you know, right here, most likely in the middle. And we can go into the front view to confirm that. And then we're gonna have to tweak this shape, because this is only matching in the top view, right? You're gonna have to tweak it in the left view, the front view, to make it look correct. And this is a back and forth process where you're jumping between the angles to match the curves. So this is where your references can come in handy, because on the orthographic views you only have a certain amount of information, and also the orthographic views might not match perfectly, you know, like the top view might not match the left view, might not match the front view, might not match the back view. So that's where your image or photo references come in handy, so you can see how actually each part connects to another. And you just have to pick one view for your main proportions, let's say, and work with that. And also abiding by the proportions that you found online or on Google. Right, so this is a process that will take just some time. Don't rush it. If you find this challenging, I can understand, because, you know, I did too, but you just really have to spend some time with it. So in the top view, we would, you know, draw like this angle to match the profile, the top profile of the car, and you would have to adjust it in 3D to have it fit in, right? You're gonna have to shift it up, you have to tweak some of these angles. And what I've gone and done before recording this video is I did more or less the guides that I think were necessary in modeling this car. So once you have these guidelines, we're gonna go and this one. Okay. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go in the next video and lay down polygons on them. So you've seen I've drawn the guides for half the car, because we're gonna mirror the geometry when we're done with modeling half of it. Then we need to do curves on both sides, and you see how I match. Just using a different image. Okay, seeing how I match it in the top view, left view, front view, etc., etc., right? And this is what I want you to do for your own homework. Lay out the basic polygons that you think are necessary for the proportions. Use the curve tool and draw out in the orthographic views the curves that are necessary for modeling the main shape of the car. And even here I could have gone into more detail. I could have drawn in the door, have that matched in 3D, and you can almost kind of visualize when polygons will be placed over it. You know, like, just gonna polygons would be placed over it, how it would look, and how the topology would flow. Right? See, I've already drawn the main topological lines that I want the car to follow, and it would fit perfectly, because I literally just referenced the blueprints, right? I didn't invent anything. This is why curve modeling for your blockout is so useful. I want you to spend some time on this. Don't rush it, like I said. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In our next video, I'm gonna go over basic subdivision modeling and how we can start laying down polygons for our 3D model. So keep at it, and I'll see you then.